New trouble for the nation's embattled top cop as lawmakers investigate him for possibly lying to Congress. This is Special Report. Good evening, I'm Brett Baer. A bad situation for the Attorney General is getting worse tonight. A House committee is investigating whether the president's top cop lied to Congress about surveillance on reporters, specifically James Rosen of Fox News. We have Fox team coverage. Britt Hume has analysis of how Eric Holder is balancing law and politics. Shannon Bream looks at how liberals and Democrats are turning on the AG now. But we begin with correspondent Doug McElway and Holder's testimony under a microscope. Good evening, Doug.
Evening, Brett. Court documents obtained by Fox News show that the Justice Department had built a case against by simply examining his State Department computer alone. The documents add to questions about why the Attorney General wanted access to the personal phone records of Fox News' James Rosen and Rosen's parents. It is the latest in a torrent of troubles for the Attorney General. Fox News today confirmed that the House Judiciary Committee is now investigating whether Attorney General Eric Holder lied under oath on May 15th when he said this.
With regard to the potential prosecution of the press for the disclosure of material, that is not something that I've ever been involved in.
9 days after that testimony, the Department of Justice acknowledged that Holder signed off on the search warrant for Fox News chief Washington correspondent James Rosen. The DOJ statement said the decision was vetted, quote, at the highest levels of the department, including discussions with the Attorney General. With Holder conducting a 30-day review of the search of media phone records, he is under growing pressure to amend the search warrant that named Rosen a co-conspirator. Former U.S. Attorney Joe DeGeneres says the affidavit written in support of that warrant by FBI agent Reginald Reyes is, quote, ludicrous. He added, quote, every fact should have been rejected by the U.S. Attorney. The chief spokesman for former Attorney General John Ashcroft told Fox News, quote, there is no way we would have allowed that subpoena to go forward. Others agree.
You had to get sign-off from the Public Affairs Office that I headed up. Then you had to get sign-off from the Criminal Division, which Mike Chertoff at that time headed up, then the Deputy Attorney General's Office and the Attorney General's Office. And at each point, you were always asking a lot of questions of the FBI agents or the prosecutors who had come and asked for this subpoena.
It appears that Holder himself is undergoing some soul-searching about the targeting of media phone records. The website Daily Beast today quoted a Holder advisor, look, we get it. We understand why this is so controversial, and we're ready to make changes to find the right balance. After his remarks today at a naturalization ceremony, Holder was asked by reporters about the Daily Beast report and whether he had regrets. Holder replied off camera, quote, I'm not satisfied. Holder added that invitations to media organizations for the 30-day review go out today, and the first meetings get underway next week.
Going well?
The Daily Beast piece also said that aides say Holder believes a cultural factor may be at the root of his decision. The aides did not say who set the tone for that culture. Brett?
Doug, a lot of reporters following this case. Ryan Lizard with the New Yorker broke that the documents you referenced at the beginning, and we managed to get them. On one of the documents, it says the FBI is not at this time seeking a search warrant for Rosen's Gmail account. But of course, a few months later, they would reverse course.
That's right. They did.
Okay, Doug, thank you. Holder is under fire from both sides tonight. Some liberals and Democrats are crossing the aisle to side with Republicans in calling for Holder's head on a political platter. Correspondent Shannon Bream has that part of the story.
It's no secret that GOP criticism of Attorney General Eric Holder has been widespread, including the 131 House members, 8 senators, and 2 governors who have publicly called for his resignation.
Attorney General Holder seems to be aloof and unengaged when it's convenient, and yet incompetent when it matters most. And we need an Attorney General who's hands-on, who is communicating with the president. That does not happen with Eric Holder.
Now add to the list of those who think it's time for Holder to go. Liberal talk show host Bill Press, the left-leaning Huffington Post, Esquire magazine, even Keith Olbermann, who tweeted in response to the Justice Department's collection of phone records tied to 20 lines used by Associated Press reporters, quote, unacceptable. If Mr. Holder continues to support this rogue action, he should resign. And when the Attorney General appeared before the House Judiciary Committee, it was California Democrat Zoe Lofgren assigning blame.
It seems to me clear that the actions of the department have in fact impaired the First Amendment.
It's not unusual for members of any administration to get pushback from the opposing party, but analysts say the combination of Fast and Furious, a controversy over which the Republican-controlled House, with the help of 17 Democrats, voted to hold the Attorney General in contempt, along with the aggressive probe into journalists' phone records and personal email, may be trickier for Holder to navigate.
What's very different about this time is that you're starting to see Democrats join Republicans to call for his resignation. Whenever you see both sides doing that, it means there's real trouble. Doesn't mean he's in trouble of having to be forced out or resign yet, but it means this is a lot more serious than some of the other events that he's had to take on.
Despite the bipartisan criticism, President Obama continues to back Holder, calling him an outstanding attorney general who does his job with integrity. Brett?
Shannon, thank you. Let's get some thoughts now on the attorney general and these leaks and the scandal. Here's senior political analyst Britt Hume. Good evening, Britt.
Hello, Brett. Attorney General Holder tells that news site, The Daily Beast, in that interview published today, that the first time he realized that his department's seizure of our James Rosen's emails could be a big problem was when he read about it in the paper. His subordinates at Justice, who had known for days that the story was coming, had been scrambling to formulate a response. When Holder finally read the story, reports the Daily Beast, quote, he began to feel a creeping sense of personal remorse. Well, one would hope so, since Holder had approved the search warrant for the Rosen emails, complete with its attendant claims that Rosen was under criminal investigation. Not only that, but as has been noted earlier, Holder only days before had sworn to Congress he'd never heard of such a thing, let alone been involved in it. All that's obviously a problem, but there's a deeper problem. The Attorney General's job is to patrol the border between law and politics to make sure it's not breached on either side. Such breaches can be the stuff of scandal. When a matter is sufficiently sensitive that it has to be brought to the Attorney General to decide, as happened in the Rosen case, that alone should be enough to alert even an obtuse Attorney General that he is handling dynamite. The last thing a president or a country needs is an Attorney General who can't figure that out until he reads about it years later in the newspaper. Brett,
what about all this talk about a shield law and efforts to support a shield law? I mean, there's no evidence that that would affect, for example, the Rosen case.
It does not appear that it would have affected the Rosen case or perhaps even the AP case, because the shield law that's being talked about, or the shield laws that have been discussed, are shot through with exceptions for national security. My own sense is that the press might be better off relying on the First Amendment, which is pretty straightforward and does not admit of any exceptions.
Okay, Britt, thank you.